and you may have an occasional wind gust that gets close to hurricane force. So just be aware of that. And the brunt of the heavy winds will be occurring for neighborhoods that are east of I-45, and we're talking about places on into Chambers County and places up to the north toward Liberty County. So be prepared for this as it continues to move your way.
Gene, some of these wind gusts you've been putting up there look more like temperatures than actually wind gusts, what we've been used to. While we got you there, we're going to pull up some pictures of Clear Lake. Can you give us a pinpoint of what's going on there? Because we see a lot of wind here and a lot of rain blowing sideways that you had talked about. What are some of the numbers that you're getting from the Clear Lake area?
Okay, well, I don't know that we have a sensor in the Clear Lake area, but we're going to try to find one, or one closest to us. There's one in LaPorte, and that's a little bit north of Clear Lake. We might be able to pop that one up. But if we go back to the radar, let me just step out of frame for just a second and jockey the radar a little bit here so we can kind of get to that position.
Clear Lake, so we can sit here and look at those while you try to bring up some of the numbers, because we see the palm trees that are being tested out there in the Clear Lake area. This is just outside of the Hilton Hotel where Manuel Gallegos had been reporting, and they had just been battered for most of the night. They're just off of the Galveston Bay. So what do you have there, Gene?
Tell them to come back. Okay, so we have 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts in LaPorte right now, and that's just to the north. That's a 90-mile-an-hour wind gust there in LaPorte, which is just to the north of the Clear Lake area. And then if I switch it back over to the HD Doppler source, Clear Lake area, of course, would be right down in here. Right down in here. Here's Kemah. You know, the map is kind of coloring what you would normally be able to see on a clear day, but this is anything but a clear day. So that's what they're seeing. You see that big red swath of red, Greg, that you were just asking about?
Absolutely.
What does that relate to? What it relates to is a picture that you had up. So if we can put this up and the picture up side by side, you can get a sense of what the red looks like.
Well, at this point, you may not be able to do both of them because the picture is coming in and out just because of the intensity of the storm.
I understand, but that picture we just showed
there you go.
Of the winds, that is what red looks like basically on the radar, if you just want to know.
And it's coming, you said north, so everybody north of the downtown area, what you're seeing there in that left box is coming your way. For you listening on the radio right now, what we are looking at is what Gene was telling us, which is that horizontal rain. I mean, it is so thick and coming so fast, it almost looks like ocean spray.
And when you sit here and you talk about 90-mile-per-hour winds, it's kind of like having a huge fan and you just pour a bottle of water and you know the rain just ends up going sideways. And that's exactly what's happening on a much larger scale out there in Clear Lake, and like you said, all the way up Galveston Bay and pretty much on its way toward downtown Houston and points beyond.
Yeah, 90 miles per hour, that rain definitely doesn't feel very gentle. It's like getting sand blasted with water.
Exactly.
It's not a pleasant thing at all. Time now is 1:58.
All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour here, so we want to get you updated now on Hurricane Ike.
Happens top and bottom of the hour every 30 minutes. What's going on right now? Well, that center of the eye is 12 miles from the coast right now. It is expected to make landfall at the east end of Galveston within the hour. Now, a lot of folks think, well, it's already made landfall. We've got that eye wall here. No, they're talking about the center of that storm. So that's where the calm area is. Eye wall winds are heading for downtown Houston.
All right, and we know this is an enormous storm, and it's not just affecting the Galveston area or the Houston area. It's affecting a lot of other people, and we're hearing from the Associated Press right now that utility companies along the Gulf Coast are reporting there are about 4.5 million people without power right now.
You know, imagine how huge of a task these utility companies have ahead of them.
Well, we certainly heard from CenterPoint. They said that they have more than 1 million. We heard from Energy, and we know that they have several thousand. They primarily service southeast Texas and also in other parts of the Gulf Coast as well.
Dickinson is one of the spots being hit hard right now as well. We have 11 News reporter Lee McGuire on the phone just a little bit ago. He told us the situation was deteriorating there and just being hammered with wind and rain. And Doc has been telling us that this is the worst of it for Dickinson right now.
Yeah, and let's take you outside now to downtown Houston, where Doug Miller is standing by live to give us a sense of what's happening there. And we can see the wind has really picked up, Doug.
Yeah, it really has. I've got to tell you that we're about, let me give you an idea of where we're standing. About 2 miles west of downtown Houston. The skyscrapers of downtown, about 2 miles that way. Behind me, Buffalo Bayou. Let me tell you what we're seeing in the sky. Every once in a while, it looks green because we suspect we're seeing transformers blowing pop, pop, pop all over the place. Behind me, though, I think you're going to see evidence of what we're going to see over most of the city. Look back there, and you can see the trees blowing around. You can see the branches blowing. And maybe you can see this one branch. It's kind of low-lying over there. Been watching that for about the past half hour. It is sagging pretty low, and I got a funny feeling that branch is not going to make it through the night. We're already seeing some branches falling off of trees, rolling down the streets. Not the giant branches just yet. I got a feeling that's to come, but we're seeing some larger branches falling away, tumbling down the streets here. You know, we talked throughout the entire process of building up to the storm about the Saffir-Simpson scale and how certain winds don't produce direct damage to buildings. Well, what that doesn't take into account is that these branches flying down the street can go flying into windows, can go flying into cars. That's the thing we really have to worry about. I got to tell you, this reminds me of one thing and one thing only. Alicia, 25 years ago, that storm that blew through downtown. These are the highest winds we've seen in the Houston area since then. What we saw after that, the main damage we saw over the Houston area, what most people suffered was, number one, extensive power outages for days upon days. Number two, a lot of branches, leaves, debris all through the streets. Collecting all of that debris was a massive task. You remember Allison? That was mostly water. This, mostly wind so far. I can already see that we're going to see a lot of those limbs, all of that debris lying around. So if you haven't gone outside and taken a look, and I wouldn't encourage it right now, believe me, but I can tell you that what you're going to see tomorrow when you wake up probably is going to be a lot of tree limbs, a lot of that sort of stuff. It's going to take you a little bit of time at the very least to clean out the yard, to clean all that stuff out of there. Look back here, look toward Buffalo Bayou. And I can't even turn around. The rain is coming in so strong. But back here, you can see those branches blowing around. And I'm looking off in the distance. You can't see it with the camera, but I've got, there's one branch I've had my eye on over there. It's looking pretty grim. It's about to break off over there. That's what we're going to see all night long as the storm moves closer and closer, moves through here. This is what we're seeing in the downtown area. What you folks up there in the, say, the Woodlands area, up in the Conroe area, this is what's coming your way, okay? This is what's headed your direction. So this is what's going to be happening to your trees and your streets.
So that is kind of the latest from our news desk here, and some information that you can use at home to sort of see what's happening in your immediate neighborhood. Lucy and Greg?
All right, it's actually Vicente and Christine now. Lucy and Greg are going to take a break, Sherman. You know, very interesting what Sherman was saying there about the power outages. Earlier, CenterPoint Energy was saying make sure that you don't call at this point because they know where the power outages are.
Yeah, and over 1 million, as we've heard, without the Houston area, without power right now. And obviously that number is only going to continue to grow. We have some new pictures into our newsroom right now of some transformers just blowing over the Houston skyline. It's pretty unreal to watch this happen, and surreal for a lot of people who are sitting at home kind of scared about what's happening around them.
It's kind of like fireworks almost. This is typical. Anytime you see a hurricane move through an area, you see these glows. And what happens is it's just absolutely amazing. Some people think it's lightning because the effect is almost the same, but these transformers are going out. Every time one goes out, more people are losing power. And
we had Kenny Mercado from CenterPoint Energy on, almost 48 hours ago now, when he was talking to us about what he expected to happen. He said people needed to be prepared to go 18 days without power and electricity and gas. And so everybody was supposed to be ready for this, and this is the result. We're seeing these lines blow, and it is very possible that we may see power outages for that duration.
You know, Christine, as Lucy and Greg were sayaying, and as Dr. Neil Frank was saying, the most powerful part of the storm hasn't even gotten into Houston yet.
That's right, yes. And Ford LeBlanc joins us from the CenterPoint Energy. He is on the phone. Good morning to you, Ford. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Can you tell us an update right now? We're hearing over 1 million customers without power. Is that accurate?
Yes, we're up to 1.3 million customers without power right now. The outage count has continued to climb as the storm is moving into the area.
And that's what we were going to ask you about. We're seeing these transformers on the screen right now. It would seem logical that every time a transformer blows, more people are going to lose power, at least in certain grids. Is that a correct analogy, or at least a guess at this point?
Yes. You're seeing tree limbs blow in the power lines, and you're seeing line fuses and transformer fuses blow, and we are losing customers in those incidents.
Is this what you expected, and is this going to be your biggest fear right now, or what is your concern?
Well, we did expect that hurricane force winds were going to knock trees into power lines and we'd have massive outages. We projected over 1 million, but this hadn't slowed down yet, and we really needed to slow down. We're going to have a lot of work ahead of us, and it will be a long restoration process.
But we should reassure folks out there right now, if they're listening via radio or if they actually have a television set at home on and powered up, that you have crews ready and waiting to come in and help fix this.
We do. We have our crews who work in the area every day. They're going to start by restoring power to hospitals and police and fire stations, water treatment plants, sewer treatment plants. And then we're going to have 7,000 additional crew people come in to help us, and we can get more if we need more.
Were you concerned about what might have happened, considering you had Hurricane Gustav just a couple weeks ago taking a lot of that manpower?
No, we're able to get resources. Gustav, there are still customers in Louisiana off after Gustav, which came in on September 1st, but we can get resources. We have gone as far as California, Chicago, Florida, and we can reach out just as far to get the amount of resources we need to get power restored in this area.
Our camera appeared to be aimed toward, this picture that you're looking at is from Galveston Island, but where the transformers were blowing was actually a shot of the downtown Houston area. And there it is again. It appears to be facing, and I'm taking a guess that's from our tower cam, it's facing towards downtown, so it's going to be facing a little south and east a little bit, which means where those transformers were blowing is where the most powerful winds were coming through. So there's a whole group of transformers, Mr. LeBlanc, that haven't even been touched by the most powerful winds yet. So are you expecting more outages?
Yes. As the winds continue to blow at hurricane force levels, we can expect more power outages. In some cases, the winds are blowing in areas where we already have a lot of power outages, so the opportunities for outages are decreasing because we serve 2 million customers and 1.3 million are out right now, so it's pretty serious.
All right, thanks a lot. That is Mr. Ford LeBlanc with CenterPoint Energy. Appreciate that. We'll be checking back with you throughout the night.
And just about an hour ago, we had Courtney Zabowski. She was in Angleston. She was up live for us and really kind of nervous going out and checking even with the wind speeds at that point. Do we have you now, Courtney, with us?
Yes, Christine and Vicente, we are right on our outside the Walmart in a parking lot right along Business 288 in Angleton. The wind's still really kicking up, that rain coming down. We're getting a little break from the rain right now, but obviously it looks like over there you see that gas station. It's something we've been watching the whole time, but the wind and the water just whisking across this parking lot. We still can't believe that there's power out here. We've seen, as everyone's been talking about, those big transformers blow, the sky lights up. And that's really the scariest part out here. It's night, it's dark, and for people that don't have power, I just can't even imagine what they're going through right now. We are here, and yes, we have some lights right around here, but beyond that parking lot, this little Walmart parking lot, we don't know what is going on in the streets, in the neighborhoods. I want to show you another quote-unquote landmark that we've been watching out here. It's this light pole. It was just blowing for a little while at first, and we heard some of the bulbs breaking, and it's starting to sway a little more. It's being held down by a big boulder. I think it's going to be okay, but if the winds kick up any more than they already are, I don't know what will happen. And if we pan over to another one of our landmarks, this tree still holding strong, but some of the branches breaking off. We have talked to emergency management coordinators, and as people have been reporting it, all these power outages, power outs everywhere. We do know that a lot of the people here got out of town. A couple people had just driven by here. We didn't know what they were doing. We don't know if they were out just scoping the scene or what, but they haven't come by in a long time. So obviously that's a very good thing. Another thing that we've talked about, you know, a lot of the people in Angleton and Lake Jackson, a lot of them got out. We have talked to someone in Lake Jackson who told us that the power is out, the wind is gusting, but it isn't too bad. And that's what's going on right now from Angleton. We'll let you know how it's going throughout the morning. Guys, back to you.
All right,
Courtney
thanks.
Zabowski, thank you. We appreciate it.
And now we're going to go to Jeremy Rogowski near downtown Houston, where the weather's coming through. Jeremy.
Yeah, good morning, Vicente. Good morning, Christine. Lucy Nolan about a half an hour ago said, hey, there's one big more heavy band of red, if you will, on the radar. And I think it's here because we have not seen this level of rain throughout the evening and into the early morning hours. We just had a huge gust, certainly I would estimate hurricane force. Power's still on, as you can see downtown. We're in the theater district. This is a Prairie. Over there is I-45. You know, yesterday they were talking about this thing crawling up I-45. It sure feels that way right now. About an hour ago, we did take a tour of downtown. In terms of damage, I would characterize it as minimal right now. We did see some small to medium-sized trees being uprooted, being splintered in half, half of them down. But other than that, downtown as a whole has fared pretty well thus far. We have not seen any windows blown out, and the majority of storefront windows have not been boarded up. We saw only really 2 or 3 buildings, most of those municipal buildings. Police headquarters in the City Hall Annex had plywood over all their windows. Here you can see some of the video of some of the trees taken about, I would say, an hour and a half or so ago. We did run into some folks, some homeless folks who were on the trying to shelter themselves with a brick building. We sure hope they're okay, because this is really coming in right now. The only reason Christine and Vicente were able to continue to bring you these pictures is because if you're familiar with the theater district, the Gus Wortham Center, where they have ballet, is a huge brick building, probably a third of a block long, and we are tucked behind the Gus Wortham building. You can see as 11 News photojournalist Nathan Kavinga pans around, there's our live truck, there's Prairie Street, and you can see the shelter that we're afforded here.
My 2 little kids are beautiful.
Imagine how fearful that it must be. And your kids, how old are they?
I have a 4-year-old girl named Emma and a 10-year-old son named Nick.
How are they doing with all of this?
They actually are asleep right now. They this happened around 12:30, so we have them in a room that's really safe, and they're down and out for the count, I think, but we got a lot of work ahead of us tomorrow morning.
Mr. Power, how are the winds right now? Are they still howling out there in Spring, which is up north of the big airport?
They're howling, pretty sustained winds with a few very strong gusts. The wind also, or the rain also very sustained. You know, we're seeing it flying sideways, hitting the house.
Wow.
I don't see any other damage around the place except for the biggest I had around my house fell on my house.
Oh.
And that, Christine, that was a big concern that